The biting wind whipped through the crowded streets of Los Angeles, rattling the windows of parked cars and making the city feel colder than its usual temperate December. Among the faceless crowd shuffling along the boulevard was a young girl with matted hair and torn sneakers. She moved quietly, blending into the chaos yet carrying a presence that made people glance twice. Her name was Mia, a 15-year-old who had been homeless for almost 2 years. The sidewalk was her stage. And today, desperation compelled her to take a bold leap that would change her life forever. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. Mia sat on a crumpled piece of cardboard outside a coffee shop, clutching a small sign scribbled with shaky letters. Please help. Hungry. No family. Passers-by rarely stopped, their eyes fixed on their phones or hurried schedules. But Mia wasn't just begging for loose change. She was watching, searching for someone who could make a real difference. The night before, she had scrawled a name on the back of her sign, one that carried the weight of possibility. Elon Musk. She had overheard 2 men in the library discussing the billionaire's latest innovation, a neural implant that could help paralyzed individuals walk again. They spoke of his genius, his immense wealth, and his reputation for tackling impossible problems. To Mia, Elon Musk sounded like a modern-day wizard. If he could solve challenges no one else dared to face, maybe, just maybe, he could solve hers. Mia's plan was simple, though audacious. She knew Elon Musk sometimes frequented this area during his visits to Tesla's design studio. If there was even the slimmest chance he might walk by, she needed to be ready. She spent hours rehearsing what she would say, though her voice trembled even in private. Would he stop? Would he even notice her? It was nearly sunset when the improbable happened. A sleek black Tesla pulled up at the curb, its gull-wing doors rising like a futuristic creature. Out stepped a man in a crisp black jacket and jeans, flanked by 2 colleagues in suits. Mia froze, her heart pounding as she recognized him instantly. It was Elon Musk. "Mr. Musk!" she called, her voice cracking. At first, he didn't hear her over the bustling street noise, but Mia didn't give up. She pushed herself to her feet, her sign clutched tightly in her hand. "Mr. Musk, please, I need your help." The billionaire paused mid-stride, turning toward the sound. His colleagues looked uncomfortable, ready to brush Mia aside. But Elon raised a hand, signaling them to stop. He walked toward her, his piercing eyes narrowing slightly as he took in the sight of the thin, shivering girl. "What's going on?" he asked, his tone calm but curious. Mia swallowed hard. I've been homeless for a long time," she began. Her voice wavered, but she pushed through. "I don't have anyone, my parents are gone, and I'm just stuck. I don't know what to do, but I heard about you. You fix things no one else can. I thought, maybe you could help me." For a moment, Elon said nothing. He studied her, his expression inscrutable. Behind him, one of his colleagues whispered, "We really need to get going." But Elon didn't move. His gaze dropped to the sign Mia held, and his eyes lingered on a detail she hadn't realized was visible. A small, faded logo at the bottom of her cardboard, a SpaceX prototype emblem. "Where did you get that?" he asked, his voice suddenly sharper. Mia blinked, confused. "This?" She turned the cardboard over, noticing the logo for the first time. I found it in a dumpster a few blocks from here." Elon's eyes darkened, his mind working at a speed only he could understand. That logo wasn't just any SpaceX design, it was from a private project, a project that had been abandoned years ago due to security concerns. The material the logo was printed on wasn't ordinary cardboard, it was an experimental composite. Someone somewhere had discarded it improperly. But how had this girl come across it? "Mia," he said slowly, "I believe you might have just stumbled onto something important." The next hour unfolded like a surreal dream. Elon Musk instructed his team to cancel his evening plans and directed Mia to step into his car. She hesitated, the enormity of the moment sinking in. Could she trust him? But something in his demeanor, firm yet oddly compassionate, made her feel safe. She climbed into the Tesla, and the doors closed with a soft hiss, sealing her inside a world of quiet luxury. They drove to SpaceX headquarters, where Mia was ushered into a sleek conference room. Elon asked her to recount exactly where she had found the cardboard. At first, she was confused by his intense interest, But as he explained the significance of the material, she realized she might have accidentally uncovered something bigger than herself. "It's not just about the cardboard," Elon clarified. "If someone's been accessing our discarded prototypes, there's a potential security breach. But let's set that aside for a moment." He leaned forward, his gaze softening. "Tell me about you. How did you end up in this situation?" Mia hesitated, unused to anyone caring enough to ask. But there was something disarming about the way Elon listened, as though her story mattered. She told him about her parents' deaths in a car accident when she was 13, the foster system that had failed her, and the countless nights spent sleeping in alleys or shelters when there was room. "You're incredibly resourceful," Elon said when she finished. "Most people would have given up long before now." Mia shrugged. "I didn't have a choice." "That's where you're wrong," Elon replied. "You had plenty of choices. You chose to fight. That tells me you're not just surviving. You're thinking, strategizing. You remind me of myself when I was young." Over the next few days, Elon didn't just offer Mia temporary help, he took action. First, he ensured she had a safe place to stay, enrolling her in a program for homeless youth that provided education and mentorship. But his involvement didn't stop there. Elon saw something unique in Mia, a spark of intelligence and resilience that he couldn't ignore. He arranged for her to meet with tutors and engineers, offering her an internship at SpaceX despite her lack of formal education. As weeks turned into months, Mia thrived. She absorbed knowledge like a sponge, asking questions that even seasoned engineers found thought-provoking. Elon often checked in on her progress, and their conversations grew deeper. She shared her dreams of creating technology to help others like her, and he encouraged her to think even bigger. A year later, Mia stood on a stage at a SpaceX event, her transformation nothing short of miraculous. She wore a tailored suit, her once shy demeanor replaced by quiet confidence. Elon introduced her to the audience as one of the brightest young minds I've had the privilege to meet. Mia smiled, her voice steady as she addressed the crowd. "A year ago, I was invisible, a girl on the streets hoping for a miracle. Today, I'm standing here because someone took the time to notice. But this isn't just my story. It's a reminder that potential is everywhere, even in the most unlikely places." The audience erupted into applause, and Elon watched with pride. He had taken a chance on a girl with nothing, and in doing so, he had gained an ally with a unique perspective. Mia's journey was far from over, but she was no longer alone. Together, they would tackle challenges no one else dared to face. And as they walked off the stage, Elon leaned down and whispered, "The future needs people like you, Mia. Keep proving the impossible." In the years that followed, Mia became a pioneer in her own right, leading initiatives to bridge technology and social equity. Her story became a testament to the power of noticing, the magic of second chances, and the extraordinary impact of a single act of kindness. As Mia settled into her new life, the initial whirlwind of awe and gratitude was replaced by a profound sense of responsibility. The opportunities she had been given weren't just about survival anymore, they were a call to action. Elon's words echoed in her mind daily. The future needs people like you. But what did that mean, and how could she live up to it? Every morning, Mia would wake up in her modest apartment, a space provided through SpaceX's outreach program. The room was small but warm, with a desk piled high with books on engineering, coding, and physics. She spent countless hours poring over them, sometimes losing track of time until the sun dipped below the horizon. Though she had always been curious, she'd never had the luxury of exploring her potential. Now, she devoured knowledge with the hunger of someone who had gone too long without. The internship at SpaceX was challenging, even overwhelming at times. Her colleagues were seasoned professionals, and the work demanded precision, creativity, and an almost obsessive level of dedication. Mia felt out of place at first, her lack of formal education making her second-guess every idea she put forward. But Elon had anticipated this. He had paired her with a mentor, Dr. Evelyn Carter, a lead engineer whose calm, methodical approach balanced Mia's fiery ambition. "Mia," Evelyn told her one evening after a particularly rough day, "you don't need a degree to have a brilliant mind. Some of the best ideas come from people who see the world differently. Use that to your advantage." Evelyn's words became a mantra for Mia. Slowly, she began to find her footing. She contributed to projects in small but meaningful ways, offering ideas that sometimes seemed unconventional, but often proved invaluable. Her knack for problem solving, honed through years of surviving on the streets, gave her a unique edge. Where others saw dead ends, she saw possibilities. Meanwhile, Elon remained a quiet but constant presence in her life. Though his schedule was notoriously packed, he often found time to check in with Mia. Their conversations ranged from the technical to the philosophical. He talked about his vision for humanity's future, colonizing Mars, advancing renewable energy, and merging human intelligence with artificial intelligence. One evening, as they sat in the glass-walled cafeteria overlooking SpaceX's bustling factory floor, Mia asked him a question that had been on her mind for weeks. "Elon," she began hesitantly, "why did you stop for me that day? You must pass by dozens of people asking for help. What made me different?" Elon paused, his expression thoughtful. "You weren't just asking for help," he said. "You were asking for a chance. And that's something I can't ignore. Talent is everywhere, but opportunity isn't. My job isn't just to build rockets or electric cars. It's to build bridges for people who might change the world." His words struck a chord with Mia. She realized that her story was no longer just about her survival. It was about what she could do for others. The streets she had once called home were still filled with kids like her. Kids with dreams and potential, but no path forward. She resolved to change that. Over the next year, Mia worked tirelessly on a personal project, one that would merge her newfound engineering skills with her deeply personal mission. She envisioned a platform that could connect homeless youth with resources, mentorship, and education. Using the coding skills she had learned during her internship, she began designing an app called Launchpad. The idea was simple but powerful. Create a digital hub where young people in crisis could find nearby shelters, food banks, and medical services. But Mia wanted to go further. Through partnerships with tech companies and educational institutions, Launchpad would also offer online courses, job training, and connections to mentors like Evelyn. When Mia first pitched the idea to Elon, she was nervous. He listened intently, his expression unreadable. When she finished, he leaned back in his chair and smiled. "This is exactly what I meant when I said the future needs people like you," he said. "Let's make it happen." With Elon's backing, Launchpad quickly gained traction. SpaceX provided funding for the app's development, while Tesla and the Boring Company offered logistical support. Mia assembled a small but dedicated team, including some of her colleagues from the internship. Together, they worked late into the night, fueled by caffeine and a shared belief in the project's potential. As Launchpad neared its launch date, Mia insisted on including a feature that reflected her own journey. Users could share their stories anonymously, creating a digital tapestry of resilience and hope. She believed that by reading these stories, people would see the humanity behind the statistics and be inspired to help. The app launched on a chilly October morning, with a press conference held at SpaceX headquarters. Mia stood at the podium, her heart pounding as cameras flashed and reporters murmured. She had prepared a speech, but as she looked out at the crowd, she decided to speak from the heart. "When I was homeless," she began, "I felt invisible. People walked past me every day without really seeing me. But the truth is, there are millions of people like me, each with a story, each with potential waiting to be unlocked. Launchpad isn't just an app, it's a lifeline. It's a way to say, we see you. You matter." The applause was thunderous, but the real impact became evident in the weeks that followed. Within a month, Launchpad had connected over 10,000 users to critical resources, and the stories section was flooded with messages of gratitude and hope. Mia received emails from kids across the country, many of whom said the app had given them their first glimmer of hope in years. Despite her growing success, Mia remained grounded. She often returned to the neighborhoods where she had once lived, volunteering at shelters and speaking to youth groups. She shared her story not to inspire pity, but to spark action. She wanted people to see that homelessness wasn't a failure of character, but a failure of the system, a system that she was determined to change. Elon continued to mentor Mia, but their relationship had shifted. Where he had once been the teacher, he now saw her as an equal, someone whose ideas and insights challenged his own. They often debated the ethics of technology, the balance between innovation and accessibility, and the role of corporations in addressing social issues. One evening during one of their discussions, Elon brought up an idea that had been brewing in his mind. "Mia," he said, "what if we applied the launchpad model to Mars?" Mia blinked, taken aback. "You mean for colonists?" "Exactly. When we start sending people to Mars, it won't just be scientists and engineers. Eventually, it'll be regular people, teachers, artists, even kids. They'll need a support system, a way to connect and thrive in an entirely new environment. Your app could be the foundation for that." The thought of her work playing a role in humanity's first interplanetary colony was staggering. But as Mia considered it, she realized that the principles behind Launchpad, connection, support, opportunity, were universal. Whether on Earth or Mars, people needed the same basic things to thrive. As the years passed, Mia's influence grew. She became a prominent advocate for social equity, using her platform to push for systemic change. Her work expanded beyond Launchpad, encompassing initiatives in affordable housing, mental health care, and education reform. She collaborated with leaders across industries, always emphasizing the importance of seeing potential in everyone. Through it all, she never forgot the moment that had started it all. A cold December evening when she had dared to ask for help and a man named Elon Musk had noticed. Mia often reflected on how different her life might have been if she hadn't taken that chance, or if Elon had walked away. It reminded her of the power of small actions, the way a single moment of compassion could ripple outward, changing lives in ways no one could predict. By the time Mia turned 30, she was recognized as one of the most influential changemakers of her generation. She had built a legacy not just through her work, but through the countless lives she had touched. Yet she remained humble, always crediting the people who had believed in her when she couldn't yet believe in herself. One evening, as she and Elon walked through the SpaceX facility, now buzzing with preparations for the first crewed mission to Mars, she turned to him with a smile. "Do you think we'll ever stop needing second chances?" she asked. Elon shook his head, a rare softness in his expression. "No, and we shouldn't. Every great idea, every breakthrough starts with someone taking a chance, on themselves or someone else." Mia nodded, her heart full. She had learned that lesson firsthand, and as she looked toward the future, both hers and humanity's, she knew one thing for certain. The best chances were the ones you created, not just for yourself, but for others. And so, with the same determination that had carried her through the darkest days, Mia continued her journey, proving that even the smallest spark of hope could ignite a fire that lit the way for generations to come. Mia's journey continued to evolve, with new challenges and opportunities shaping her path. Even after years of success, she never let her achievements lull her into complacency. She knew the world was still filled with systemic injustices, and the fight for equity required constant innovation and persistence. The past had taught her resilience, and now she used that lesson to push boundaries in ways even she hadn't imagined. One of Mia's most ambitious projects emerged 5 years after the launch of Launchpad. With the backing of SpaceX and Tesla, she spearheaded a revolutionary program aimed at using renewable energy technology to directly combat homelessness. The initiative, called Haven, focused on building affordable, self-sustaining micro-communities powered entirely by solar energy. These modular neighborhoods could be set up quickly in urban and rural areas, offering safe housing, clean water, and reliable energy to people in need. Unlike traditional shelters, Haven was designed with dignity and self-sufficiency in mind. Each unit included personal living quarters, communal spaces for collaboration, and access to vocational training centers. Mia believed that providing basic needs wasn't enough. People needed tools to rebuild their lives and a sense of ownership over their futures. To that end, Haven also incorporated vertical farming systems, enabling residents to grow their own food while learning agricultural skills. As Haven expanded across the United States, Mia faced critics who questioned whether such initiatives could truly make a lasting impact. She met their skepticism with data and stories, showing how Haven had not only provided homes but also significantly reduced reliance on emergency services and public funds. Residents of the communities often found stable jobs, returned to school, or started small businesses, becoming active contributors to their local economies. While Haven gained international attention, Mia's role as a thought leader continued to grow. She was invited to speak at the United Nations, where she presented a bold vision for tackling global poverty through technology and collaboration. Her ideas inspired governments and private companies alike, leading to partnerships that brought her projects to cities around the world. In one particularly memorable moment, Mia traveled to Nairobi, Kenya, to oversee the launch of Haven's first international site. As she stood under the blazing sun, watching the solar panels being installed, she reflected on how far she had come. From a girl begging for help on the streets to a global advocate for change, her life had taken a path she could never have imagined. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on a homeless girl asking Elon Musk for help? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching and see you next time.